Who's it? Ryan Gosling and
Margot Robbie.
Margie Robbo?
Yeah, same thing. I can't get past the Margie Robbie.
I put the hoe in a hotel. You're trying to ride up and down with this bombshell. Try to climb the stairs, I'll kick you down with my stiletto. My rates are going up, that's why you can't get on my level.
Look who it is. I finally got you. Oh my gosh. But it actually worked out good because you released, I think the last time I was trying to chat with you was like in August or September. Because I met you at the Sleeping with Siren show. Mm-hmm. And we've just kind of been like best friends ever since.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we've hung out a few times since
Best
then.
friends is a word.
But it's a word, maybe not necessarily one to describe us. But how did your 2022 end off? I think I saw you at Emo Night one night, Pierce the Veil the other night. I mean, that's not the worst way to end off the year, huh?
I can't hear you. To the tension.
I mean, so I'm an insane person when it comes to Pierce the Veil, and like my agent, invited me out to that show, and I was like, well, I have to DJ Emo Night in Dallas, and I'm back home.
Because it was in San Diego, by the way.
Yes, it was in San Diego, and I'm like, I'm back home in Ohio right now, and I was just going to go direct from Ohio to Dallas to DJ, and then come back to LA. But then they invited me out to the show, and I was like, obviously, I'm going to go to the show. So I ended up flying out to San Diego and then taking 2 trains and a bus back to LA, because like San Diego train or whatever. And then I flew out from LA to Dallas like the day of New Year's, and then flew back. My flight back from Dallas was like at 9 a.m. and I had to be at the airport at like 6:30, and I didn't get out of like Emo Night until like 3 o'clock almost. And I was like,
traveling.
My agent, or not my agent, but my manager who booked the flight was like out to get me, I think, because I almost missed that flight. I'm like, that's quite the way to start the year, but it was great. I had so much fun at both. So.
And has Vic heard Pink Whitney?
Rich bitch can't pay my expenses. Queen for a day like I'm fucking Vic Fuentes.
Yeah, so a funny story about that. I have that line about like Vic in there, and I was like, I don't know if that's weird to name drop people and not say anything. So like before I even had the song mixed, I sent it to him, and then I was like, hey, is it okay if I name drop you in this song? Like I DM'd him on Instagram, and he like responded, and he was like so chill about it, and he was like, this is the greatest honor of my life. Like absolutely. Like he was so funny about it. But yeah, so I sent it to him, and I did the typical artist thing where I'm like, well, it's not the actual mix, and it sounds bad, and like, don't worry about it.
It's going to be completely different by the time it comes out.
Which it really wasn't any different. It was just the mixing.
But you got his blessings.
Yeah. And then he heard it, and so I met him at, for the first, well, I had met him like as, like a child, but I had met him like as SceneQueen for the first time at When We Were Young Fest, and he was like, Pink Whitney, and his like, best friend that he writes with all the time, like Curtis Peoples, who was actually out at that LA show that you went to.
Which I twerked at, by the way.
Yeah,
I got in the twerkle
and I
pit.
thank you for that. He like, I guess showed, or like Vic had shown him the song, and then like they were just all talking about it. So I was like, this is the most embarrassing thing in my life, but also the coolest thing in my life.
No, that's great. And
yeah.
it was a cool 2022 for you. So you dropped Bimbo Core.
Yes.
That came out in April, which was like your first proper EP release as SceneQueen.
I'm the drama queen, so I keep abusing. Don't call, you know I can't answer. Bring him back, bring him back. And if that bastard whistles, put a knife up to his bone or cut him.
I keep forgetting that was this year.
I know.
Because
well,
it feels like
it's 2023 now.
But it feels like so long ago. But
So much
this has
has
really
happened.
just been the most insane year of my life. Like so much has come out this year, and
even though Bimbo Core Volume 2 just dropped like a number of weeks back, I saw you tweet it and you're like, full-length album is coming this year.
yeah.
So-
I mean, when in the year, that is like the
for
question. But yeah, I think either way, like regardless of if you're doing an EP or like an album, you kind of drop the same amount of singles. So like you would do like 3 singles in an EP, and then maybe for the album you might do like 4 singles and then like 12 songs. So I kind of like almost split up an album's worth of music into 2.
I want to learn a bit about you though.
Yes.
Because you definitely came onto the scene doing something so interestingly different, and it seemed like to an extent you were out looking to get under people's skin or just bug people with not caring at all. So how did SceneQueen come to be? Because I know that Are You Tired, when that dropped, that was under Rose? Yes. Is that the name that it was?
Yep.
since then, SceneQueen happened, and what a kind of breath of fresh air to the scene, because it was just something different.
It's so funny because in like hindsight, I mean, you're gonna get this anyway being like a woman on TikTok, but everyone like, you know, people that don't like my music are like, oh, she's an industry plant because she had a different project and then came out like brand spanking new with this new sound and whatever, which like in hindsight I guess that makes sense because no one saw like what happened behind the scenes. But so pre-Rose Day, I was obviously like a huge Warped Tour kid, like yeah, I had been in the scene, you know, like from the time I was like a kid up until about like 2015, 2016. And that's when I moved out to LA, like right after I graduated high school. And I came out here because I thought I wanted to like pursue working in like the music business, like, I don't know, contracts, like sync licensing, something like that. Like I was like interested in like business law, which is so wild to think about now that I was like, ooh, contract sounds fun. Like I was just such a little nerd. Yeah. So I moved out here, and then like in 2015, it was when all of these like bands started to get, you know, kind of called out for allegations. Like that's when that all first started to happen.
I remember.
Not that it doesn't happen now. It's like very frequent that this happens, but like that's kind of when I feel like the shift in the scene kind of started, where like people didn't actually put up with things anymore, you know? And before that, like I was always just getting weird vibes from people at shows, and it just didn't feel like a very safe space to be a woman in the scene. And then all this stuff started coming out, and then like that was also around the time that they're like, well, it's the last year of Warped Tour and all this stuff. So I was just like, I'm gonna get out of this scene. Like I need to take a break from this like sort of music, because it's just not, there's not a space for me in it. And so I left that, and then I started like, you know, through like whatever, I decided I wanted to be a songwriter, and was writing in kind of like pop and hip hop sort of stuff. And then like, funny enough, like during the pandemic, or like right before the pandemic, I was kind of floating around the idea to people like, hey, I want to start this alternative project, because I felt like it had been like a couple years now, and I'm like, I want to see like some sort of resurgence in that. And then everyone was like, you're crazy.
And
You're crazy.
Sure happened, huh?
Yeah, everyone told me I was crazy, and then lo and behold, like 2 months after I said it, Machine Gun Kelly drops a mainstream like pop punk album, and I was like, okay, so it's not just me.
I don't do fake love, but I'll take some from you tonight. I know I've got to go, but I might just miss the flight. I can't stay forever. Let's play.
Yeah, so I kind of just got tired of like waiting for other people's approval, and that came with like being a songwriter as well, because in that it's like a whole different grind. Like you're waiting on other people for cuts, you're waiting on other people to get paid. Like it's just,
there's a lot of moving parts.
Yes, it's so much not involved with you, you know, that it like gets frustrating. So I was like, I'm tired of waiting on other people, and especially like waiting on other people to make what I want to make. So I'm going to drop a song right now. And I had also been like on TikTok just posting Warped Tour content, because I was like, I want to, you know, get back into this community in some way, but it's during the pandemic, so they're not playing shows.
Okay, so it's like the start of the pandemic kind of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the pH of this soil is too high. I believe I may die. Fuck yeah, concrete.
So I started TikTok just making funny videos about bands that I liked, and I kind of made this little community of like 15,000 followers just from like posting funny videos. And then like the moment I dropped a song, which the song, like I love it, but in hindsight, I just hadn't found my sound yet, because it was the first song I ever dropped as an artist. This is Are You Tired?
You've been waiting just for someone who's a little too patient. Let you treat them like they're nothing.
It still had heavy instrumentals though.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Like it's got those chugging
It
guitars.
definitely like makes
like
sense where it came from, but it also kind of makes sense that that's like my first song. You know what I mean? Like the production is great. It got on Octane Radio, but I'm also just not an active rock musician. You know, like I feel a lot more in my lane, especially because I was writing as a pop writer, like doing the combination of the two, having that like, everyone says it's like Kesha.
Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
Hey, what up,
Grab
girl?
my glasses, I'm out the door. I'm gonna hit this city. Paparazzi taking pics, drama queen. I'm the shit. Tramp stamp with my name. Eat me up, Novocaine.
But like that sort of like poppy,
That vibe.
whatever. Yeah. So like I dropped that song, and then immediately, like, because it was in super active rock, like metalcore people were listening to it, all of that, you just met with the most like misogynistic tank top wearing men
I'm
that you
sure.
could possibly imagine. So I was just getting all these comments that were like, you're too prissy to be doing this, just like straight up misogyny, like not even hiding the misogyny, just like women cannot do this. And I was like,
that's the internet for you.
Yeah. So then I knew I kind of wanted to shift sounds anyway, but then also like I was under the name Rose conveniently around the time one of the girls from Blackpink dropped a song or like a project under the artist name Rose, and I was like, well, there's no way I can compete with that name.
Thought that you remember, but it seems that you forgot. It's hard for me to blame you when you were already lost, oh yeah.
So then I was like, I need to change my name anyway. This is the perfect time to like fully rebrand because I want to shift my sound anyway. And like I'd already talked to Hopeless Records and kind of like was pitching them this idea of like doing this kind of like hyper feminine whatever in your face project because I again was met with so much like misogyny that I was like, I'm gonna be the literal antithesis of
the
anything
nightmare
yes
of all of this.
Anything those people want to see, I will not be that. And like it also just wasn't, it didn't make sense because, you know, people that were following me, they'd be like, I don't know, playing my song to like show videos of them like testing out guns and gun ranges and things like that. And I'm like,
are you tired? And
yes.
stuff?
And
Oh,
I'm like,
my
and
God.
if you've met me, so like, you know that I'm so like, I mean, now especially like my whole project is just like the entire like show is just queer people and like very like out there. Like on this last album, you know, I have like a pro-choice song on there.
Freedom of speech, freedom means nothing when you can shoot me down with the push of a button. Freedom of speech, freedom means nothing when I don't own a body, even if we're fucking. John, my V8 in your lobby, put some power on this pussy, tell the cops hit my agent, tell him to come book me.
Like it's just not who I am as a person. Like that didn't align with
You're
what
definitely
I
not
wanted
trying to be
do.
on gun videos.
Yes, exactly.
At the gun range.
Yeah, and like not that like to get too political or anything, but that's just, you know, it didn't align with what I was like whatsoever. So I again wanted to do this project, and then it just so happened to like work out that I was trying to do something, but then more naturally I just like ended up being how I wanted to be on the internet, and I found my people, you know. So that's kind of how the SceneQueen project was born. And also I knew I wanted to like have a crunk core element or like whatever to
Crunkcore.
it. Yeah, because I missed that like I said, the scene aspect of things. Because growing up, I was super into like old Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh, Count Your Blessings, one of my favorite
Yes.
albums of all time.
Pierce the Veil.
Maybe we're just having too much fun. Maybe you can handle yourself, staring at me with your lips in tongue.
But I was also into like Broken Side.
Teach me how to scream. Teach me how to scream. Teach me how to scream. Teach me how to scream.
Who like now follows me on Instagram, which I think is funny, like how that ended up turning around. And then I was into like the Ready Set Cobra Starship, like all of those like pop emo-y people.
She's got a love like whoa. Girls got a love like whoa. I kinda feel like it don't make sense. Cause you're bringing me in and now you're kicking me out again.
So all over the spectrum of like
Yes,
the scene.
and
from
303,
heavy to,
like all
yeah.
of those. So
So
I
you
wanted
kinda
to
put it
bring all of
together.
it together.
But it's some of the most like intense lyrics I've ever heard.
Bling, bling, you look so good underneath me. Floss my teeth with your G-string. Bling, bling, getting fucked in every time zone. G-string, yeah, the whole pussy rhinestone. Sending tip pics.
What's your mom think of that? When she hears that stuff, what's it like playing that for your family?
So I was raised Catholic. So that like my family is so insanely supportive of my music career. Like I will give them that. Like they drove like the closest show I played to my hometown in Cleveland was Chicago. So they drove like my mom and my sister drove 6 hours to come see that show. And my sister was like 9 months pregnant. So
Oh, wow.
hugely pregnant at my show.
She
and
could have
then
very well given birth in the pit.
that was like, so she had to leave early. Well, not like leave early, but like right after I played, she's like, hey, we're heading out because like the noise from the bass was like rumbling the baby. And she was like, I'm concerned I will go into labor if I don't leave now.
It would have been a highlight.
Yeah. So like that's how they are. And my brother, like, you know, my mom and both of my brothers came out to my first show in LA, like when I played at the Echo, which was embarrassing because I had a wardrobe malfunction.
I
So
heard.
like, yeah, they saw everything and that was a nightmare. But like they're just always there for my things, but also they're not going to post it on their social media.
They're like, we love it. Check it out if you want.
They'll show people, "Are you tired?" Which they're like, "Yeah, she like does music. You can listen to this one," or like they'll show them like Pink Whitney or something like that.
There's some acceptable ones. The track you did with Mothica.
Yes,
I think that would
my
be
mom
acceptable.
loves the Mothica song.
There you go.
Made it to hell where the band's at. The devil said he'll give your soul back. Second record or a laugh track. The label called, you can't recoup that.
And then the name SceneQueen. How did that come to be? Which I already am sure people are like, you're not Scene.
It is funny that people think that I think right now I actively look seen. I'm like, I'm well aware that I don't look
I swear,
seen.
you push so many buttons with what you do.
I know. And I'm like, but that's why it's funny,
I know.
is that I no longer look that way and I look literally the antithesis of scene. But also, if you listen to the music, you get that it's like
It's all part
inspired by that like scene-y aspects. And also, I wanted to be SceneQueen because I wanted to like make it known, you know, like for a while, the space was not safe for the little scene queens. We had like a lot of weird men in the scene, and I wanted to like make it a known thing. Like, this is a place for women in the scene, so SceneQueen is the name. And if you're a scene queen, you can like come here and hang out, you know?
So it's been really cool because like the name's been establishing itself. You did like you've already done a headline tour, which is crazy. How was that, going out and doing your own headline tour before going to Europe, I think?
Well, what was weird was that my first headline tour was actually in the UK.
Oh, that was the...
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Which
wow.
happened right after, like, I dropped Bimbo Core 1. So I literally only had 6 songs out, which is hilarious because my songs, like, are all 2 minutes long. So I had, like, 12 minutes of music out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a headline, like, little run of, like, 4 or 5 shows or whatever. So that was crazy. But then, like, this US tour, I mean... You don't expect your first project to bring an entire sold out tour. So like that's...
And it did.
And it did, which is crazy. So like that was already surreal like before I headed out onto the tour. But then like just seeing people's reactions and like, you know, I'm very lucky that I have the fans I do. Like,
you have such a good fan base, it seems like.
Yes.
They got you.
They like support me 100%, but also like just the little murmurs that you hear in the crowd. Like they're also... They'll bump into each other in the mosh pit and be like, "I'm so sorry." Like, you know, and I'm like,
they're all respectful of each other.
They're so sweet, and it's just such a like welcoming vibe. And every person I've ever played shows with that has like come out to play with me, you know, like Holy Wars. In the UK, it was Zand. They've all said like, "You're so lucky to have your fans." Like, they go so nuts for every single person on the billing. Like, I'm just very grateful that I have them. So,
which is great. That's awesome. And this latest EP, Bimbo Core Volume 2, you got Cody Carson on it.
Yes.
And I know that's excited for you. I've known Cody for like years. They were actually one of the first bands I worked with back when I was with Alternative Press. Mm-hmm. And then since then, Cody's become a good friend. Like, I made a short film with him once.
I understand that I haven't seen the movie, but this is over the top. You're being genuinely mean right now.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Whoa!
Wow.
Oh my God!
You are a true talent.
And you guys made Barbie and Ken.
Yeah.
The only song on the EP without Pink in the title, by the way.
Hi, Cody. I mean, Ken. Are you free right now? I have a song that I need you on. Like now?
Let's party!
The first 2 EPs, they all have Pink in the title except for one, which has B in it, because B stands for Bimbo.
Oh, okay.
Which is not intentional, but it just happened that way, that there was only one. So
that is the way now.
So that is the way, yeah.
But how was it riding with Cody? I've seen the pictures of you guys at Warped Tour back in the day when you were a little fan. You got him, and then I saw Zach and Max were in the video as well.
Yes.
Amazing Barbie performances.
Which is hilarious.
From everybody.
We played in perfect harmony.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah, Barbie.
Do you want to fucking party?
Do you wanna let me tie you to the back of my Ferrari?
Will you let me cut your head off if I tell you that I'm sorry?
I talked about this at that show, which you're getting like all these stories 4 different times, but they're not. So when I first met Max and Zach, it was on the set of the As It Is music video, like I Don't Care, I Can't Take It.
I don't care that I don't care. I don't care that I don't care. And it's not fair that it's not fair. No, I don't care. I can't take it.
Which is funny now. everyone in that video, it was like Jordy Perp and Ryan Oakes and all these people that I did not know whatsoever. Those are all like now my closest friends in music. So it's
Ronnie-ish?
Yeah. Ronnie-ish I did know, but like, and same with Patty, but like Ryan Oakes, Jordy, all of them, like we hang out all the time now. So for whatever reason, that little like group, kind of clicked together, which is funny. But so I was at that music video and Max and Zach were there, and I'm a huge Set It Off fan. So I like acted like I didn't know who they were because I panicked. Because this was also, I'd only released Pretty in Pink, I think.
Sorry, Daddy, sorry, Mom. I am way too far gone. Swallow pills, I'm off the walls. You can't save me.
Maybe Pretty in Pink and Pink Bubblegum, but definitely not Pink Rover, and like definitely nothing that had actually like had, you know, huge traction yet. So I was like still kind of insecure about my music project, which now in hindsight I'm like, why?
Well, you were so new to it all. I mean, you were finally just kind of establishing yourself in the scene that you
and
grew up
Set
really
It Off,
enjoying.
you know, like,
come on.
Yeah. So I just, I didn't know if I should say anything or whatever. So then I didn't say anything at all. And then they were like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, hey. And then that was...
Hey, what's your name, Max? I mean, what's your name, sir?
Yeah, literally didn't say anything. So then I was leaving and I was going to... They shot the video at like a... I don't know, like park in North Hollywood. So there was a bunch of like homeless people around. And I went to the bathroom, probably. I went to the bathroom in like one of the public bathrooms because we like were shooting for a while, and like I was waiting for my Uber. And as I walk out, this like group of like 8 men starts following me, and like across the, I know, horrifying, but across the like the field, I see like Max and Zach, and they're like walking towards me, and they like kind of like beeline towards me because they're like, oh my god, we have to go rescue this like random girl.
They saved you.
They literally saved me. And then they're like, we'll wait for you like to get your Uber. Like they were so nice, and I was like, okay.
What was your name again?
Yeah, and I was like, that's the most embarrassing thing in my life. And then like about a month later, I was at a Halloween party, and I was very, 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 very drunk because it was about like the 3rd Halloween party that night I had gone to.
That's how Halloween goes. Jesus.
Yes. So I ran into Cody Carson, who was sitting with the A&R of my label, which was already like 2 people that I'm like, oh, this is my nightmare to run into drunk. Because again, I was very new to it, so I was like afraid of my A&R and things like that are not normal. Like, but yeah, so I ran into them, and then I was like, so I pretended I didn't know who your band was, but I absolutely love you. Here's pictures of us from when I was 14 years old, blah, 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 blah. And then he followed me on Instagram and on TikTok, and I was just like, okay, this is fine.
It all came together.
And then I ran into him again at maybe, God, I'm trying to think of whose show it was. It might have been like a 0936 or someone like that.
I push myself to the edge, looking for the end, hoping this time I won't break. I push myself to the edge, feel it in my chest, none of y'all can stand in my way.
And I ran into him again, and I was just like, yeah, we like have to get in a session together. Like I would love to write with you because I feel like you'd be into my stuff. Because he was saying like, oh, this is so like wild and theatrical. Like I miss doing theatrical
your stuff. Is super theatrical, which I love.
And you can tell that
musical.
You can tell that I liked early Set It Off because of that. And also like Pierce the Veil is very, you know, weird like melody wise, and not that I do like the same sort of thing.
Unpredictable stuff.
Yeah.
Where you're like, whoa, where did that verse come from?
I'm into very like sporadic music and stuff, which is also why I love bands like Fever 333 and stuff, or like Let Live. I was super into.
Oh my god, dude! So I just had Garzi in here, and because he's on Jason's label,
yes.
But like I saw Let Live back at a garage show when they were just coming. Oh, I love Jason. I love
He's
Let Live.
so sick.
I love Fever 333. Frankie, let's chill. Go down.
But yeah, so that's like, again, kind of how I found my way into music, and then through like pop stuff as well. But so I asked if he wanted to come into a writing session. He was like, absolutely. And I was like, okay. And then I had that session, and I just thought it was going to be a writing session. And then, of course, I was with, you know, like my best friend and writing partner that like on this last EP, Canner.
Hi, Canner.
Hi, Canner.
By the way, perfect that Cody's hair is pink.
Yeah.
That fit
It
the
was.
vibe
It
perfect.
literally was perfect. So we were sitting next to each other, and he had this like '80s shirt on because you know Cody like always has like a wild print on, and I'm always neon pink. So like we were sitting next to each other, and she's like, "You literally look like the new Barbie movie, like that picture of them in like their roller skates."
Oh yeah, who's it? Ryan Gosling and
Margot Robbie.
Margie Robbo.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. I can't get past the Marky Rocky.
But did that kind of kick off the idea?
Yeah,
Why don't we do a Ken and Barbie song?
Yeah, so we were like, talking about the Barbie movie, and I was like, it'd be cool to do like a Barbie song, and then I was like, but I kind of want something like aggressive as I normally
You don't want to
do.
I'm a Barbie girl.
Yeah. So then I was like starting to write the song, and Ken was like, you have to, no, it's a collab. It's a collab. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, is it a collab? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I'd do it. And I was like, you would? And then that just happened.
I have to ask, in Pink Hotel, is Cody's voice in the background going like, room service?
You can check your bags in over here, and you can check in your panties and leave them at the door.
How do you, like, okay, I was wondering if
Is that his voice?
he also does like some gang vocals on like certain parts of the song, which is hilarious.
I could tell.
You
I
could
was
tell?
listening and I was like, that sounds like Cody. I told you that yesterday. We were jamming the EP as we were driving around, and I was
It
like,
may or may not be him and Ryan Oakes going room service.
Ryan Oakes as well.
Yeah.
That is so good because I heard it and I was like, oh, that's Cody's voice right there.
Yeah, he also may have some backgrounds in the gays with ADHD.
Some of the harmonies and
Yeah.
stuff.
Gays with ADHD, listen to me. I am your scene queen. Gays with ADHD, listen to me. I am your scene queen.
Oh my
Which
God,
you
Cody's
can-
all over it.
Yeah, which I think is hilarious just because I'm like, I don't know that Set It Off fans would think he would say it. So then
I want to get the isolated vocals of that. Actually, when I was listening
I
to your
have
stuff,
the power.
there's a
Like,
lot of parts that I just want to hear the isolated vocals too.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
it sounds like, because you're talking about the theatrical side of stuff, like, and because of that, I feel like there's so many cool harmonies and fun stuff in a lot of your music that I'm like,
some of the ad libs, if you isolate them, they're so unhinged. Like in the hotel or Pink Hotel, like during the I put the hoe in hotel part, there's just a part where I'm like full body like screaming, but it's like yeehaw.
I put the hoe in hotel. You're trying to ride up and down with this bombshell. Try to climb the stairs, I'll kick you down with my stiletto. My rates are going up, that's why you can't get on my level.
I was really stoned the other day and I was blasting it in my AirPods.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a different experience to listen to music through AirPods because you
It
can
is.
hear all that stuff. But the guitars go so heavy in it too. Like just when you hear that, I was like, oh my God, this is so heavy. So that you got layers in the music.
Oh, there's a lot of layers.
And
Like
apparently Cody's
sometimes
voice
it
is in every
even,
song.
because my producer, like Zach on the first two EPs, he like would throw in like random, Zach Jones. He would throw in like random, I don't know, like fuzzy bits underneath it that I wouldn't be able to hear until I had my actual like over the ear headphones.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And I wouldn't like hear that until like weeks later because I,
Because
listened
you
to
didn't know it was
things.
there. He was buried in it when you were
Yeah,
listening.
because he was like, oh, I'm just mixing it. And then he would like bury something in the mix. And I was like, that's not just a mix. That's like a wild part I've never heard of.
So what is coming up next for you music-wise? Like, is this the trajectory, the genre, the sound that you're going to stick with, do you think?
I think the joy of this project is that it is so experimental. Obviously, like I do have a core sound. And it's like the like poppy sort of sounding stuff with the like heavy bits. But I don't know. I think I want to throw in, because it's a full length, so I'm like, I want to throw in some weird genres within there, but keep them kind of heavy. Like if I randomly decide to do one line that sounds country, I think that would be hilarious.
Tommy, what did we say yesterday? We were just jamming it because we had some errands to run, and I was like, you got to check her out. She's so sick. And then we were just toying around like all the different genres you could bring into stuff just to have fun with it. And we were like, there could be a country part in here that would sound so sick, or pop punk.
I feel like it'd be fun to throw in like some sort of like UK grime sort of line in there.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Just like the little shout out to my fans, something about London girls, and then just like do a random line. Because they are so good to me over there. I gotta give them like a little nibble.
You're also doing Sick New World.
Yeah.
Which is it's sick.
Yes.
It's sick. The lineup is going to be wild. When is that?
It's in May in Las Vegas, which will be comfortably warm, I'm sure.
Whew. Who do you want to work with next? I mean, you mentioned Vic Fuentes in a song. I know you're a fan of the scene, the alternative scene.
No, I honestly, I want to write with Vic so bad. He doesn't even have to be on a song. I could care less. I just like want to be in a room with Vic Fuentes. But to get on the song, I really want to do a song with someone like insanely heavy.
Jason Butler.
Well, Jason Butler, I feel like that's like a for sure makes sense. I feel like that's not like fully out of my wheelhouse, and I would definitely do that. Same with like Wargasm. I would love to like do a song with
Who
them.
you toured the UK with, right?
Yes. Or like Nova Twins or someone like that that's like in the kind of trappy metal production. Yeah.
But outside of that realm.
Outside of that realm, I'm like as heavy as like a Chelsea Grin sort of sounding person.
Oh, yeah.
And do like
So
a very unhinged, like they do a like, you know,
just
like
some guttural
scream in contrast with the highest thing I've ever said and like the most high pitched
So
thing.
you really, because you mentioned Let Live, early Bring Me the Horizon. So your music enjoyment for your life really goes from the heaviest of heavies, Chelsea Grin.
Hit the lights. It's boner time.
Doing like a song with Lorna Shore would be hilarious.
Oh, that would be so good.
They just have to know that it's like that song is meant to be like a.
I imagine if they're signed, if they agreed, hopefully they would have listened to you before to
Yeah.
understand what's expected
But
from
it's
it.
supposed to be like, you know, there's playing into the bit of it, you know, and I'm not afraid to be an internet meme sometimes. And if I can make a heavy band be like funny and relatable, then that's ideal.
Yeah, and I love it because it seems like you really have gotten to a point where I talk to a lot of artists and online hate can affect them negatively. Like, and I'm sure it has in the past to you and all that. Maybe people can still say something that gets to you, but for the most part, it seems like you've really kind of gotten to a point to where you can thrive off of the hate.
Yeah, initially it was my nightmare, but then every single person at my label and management was like, you do realize like how many more listeners you have now that people hate you, right? And I was like, doesn't feel good though. And then they're like, well, just stick it out. And then after a
You're
few
crying
months,
to them. Are
yeah.
you sure?
Yeah, it was kind of like one of those things where it's like someone like has to like hold your hand to get you to sit in the roller coaster seat, and then once you're actually on the roller coaster after the first time, you're like, oh, this is kind of enjoyable.
We can do that again. And I love that Hopeless has been so supportive of really just letting you kind of pursue this vision.
Well, that's why I think it's hilarious, because as a label, they have a very like hands-off, hands-on approach, right? So like as far as creative, they'll let you do whatever you want to do.
They trust the artist.
Yes. And then they're like, okay, well, how can we amplify what you just did? And then they're super hands-on that way. But then everyone's like, oh, well, she is molded by her label. And I'm like, do you know how many meetings they have to have about me to be like, to allow me to do the things I want to do? Like, you can't just release a song that says I put the hoe in hotel without having like an HR meeting about
Get a
it.
whole
Like,
team behind it.
yeah. Like, they're like, are we allowed to be on the video shoot set? Like, that's like the sort of conversations.
Too crazy happens.
Yeah, that's like the conversations they have to have in order for me to do what I do. So I'm like, so for anyone to think that they would push me to do like that weird of stuff, I'm like, that's insane. But
are you used to it now yet? I mean, you it seems like the year I've been hearing your name for so long now, and you've been sold out headline tour, working with Cody Carson, going out to a Pierce the Veil show. Like, do you feel like, wow, I'm actually doing the thing?
Yeah, definitely. But I think people would still be surprised at like how new everything still feels to me. Like, I still send my label, like when I first wrote Pink Panther, right? Like, I sent my label a text and I said, is it okay if I say something kind of raunchy in a song? And they were like, we're not, yeah, it's your music, like write what you want to write. And then I sent them Pink Panther and they just like kind of laughed.
Please don't call, I need another hour. 3 more girls are piling in the shower. Don't call, you know I can't answer.
But I was like, is that okay? And then I went to like Pink Hotel, which is the most unhinged thing I've ever like heard in my entire life. And I was like, okay, so I don't know if this one is okay too. Like, every single time I write something, I have to like send a text. I'm like, is this fine? And they're like, yes, we've made it clear.
Have you had any lines that they've been like, well, let's not say that? Or have they always been like, whatever, do your thing?
I don't think I've pushed the boundaries more than what they expected me to do. I mean, they follow me on Twitter. Like, they see my unhingedness.
So do I. It's...
My
the girl
agents
tweets.
also think it's like my agents, like the other day we were at dinner and they're like, yeah, we like sent around like a screenshot of one of your tweets and we're just like, she's unhinged. And I was like, well,
do you have a favorite raunchy line that you have written?
I
do love, which song is it where you like, the one about you want to let them know that you fuck, and then
that's in Pink Hotel. Yeah, that I'm just trying to let you know I fuck.
Did
I mention that I fuck?
Got this money and I throw it on her tits. Household name from cutting dicks. I'm just trying to let you know I fuck. Did I mention that I fuck?
I thought that was a golden line right there.
On that same line, there's like that line that's like, oh God, it's like so raunchy. It's like, I need a slut, that's what your mom's for. Where are you getting pussy? On the top floor?
I need a slut, that's what your mom's for. On the top floor.
Her Catholic family, by the way.
Yeah, and then the line after is like, I actually don't think women are sluts at all, and like goes into like that in-depth thing. But just having my friends have to like scream in that group vocal, like, where are you getting pussy?
And they're all so into it.
Yeah,
They're just supporting you.
Which now that you know who wrote on that song, now you know who was like group chanting that.
Was Cody group chanting it? Cody! Okay, we're not gonna say anything. Who knows? But
I don't know if he wants to be tied to that part of the song, but a lot of people were group chanting that in that.
So what's coming up next this year? I know you said that you ideally want to put out a full length. I mean,
yes.
It seems like you have had a wonderful 2022. I'm sure that from going from someone who assumed or thought maybe you were going to work behind the scenes to suddenly coming out as your own artist, it's been a pretty exciting ride, I'm guessing. Where do you hope to take it over the next year?
I mean, I just... I'm still like a little music nerd, obviously, because I still geek out about people that I've had collabs with. Like, I still get nervous to talk to Cody Carson, which is odd. Like, he texted me and I'm like, oh my God, shh. Like,
everybody shut up, it's Cody.
Yeah, literally. So, I mean, for me, I just want to get in the studio with as many people as possible because I also just love... Part of what I think is cool about my project is because it's so multi-genre that like I feel like it kind of works for me to write with quite literally anyone at this point.
Yes, I agree. And it makes the possibilities endless.
Yes. So I'm just excited that now I have 12 songs to do that instead of 6, So I'm just excited to be writing right now. And then I have some tours lined up already that I am very excited about. And
all under wraps currently?
Yes, all under wraps currently, but I'll definitely be back in the US and definitely back in the UK next year.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
This year, because it's 2023 now.
Oh, yeah, this year.
Yes.
I keep forgetting that it's like already 2023.
It is 2023. That's crazy. I think you have laid the brickwork for a fantastic year ahead because you've definitely proven yourself in the past year, and I'm excited for you. I thank you for finally. I'm glad that we finally made it work. I know you've been busy, and today's raining and stuff as well.
Well, the last time that we were supposed to meet, I like woke up that morning and I randomly like had a bunch of hives, which turns out I'm allergic to the carpet in my apartment, and there's no way
on the carpet.
So I just like randomly like am now no longer allergic because apparently if you just take enough Benadryl, you stop becoming allergic to the thing in your house.
Oh, good to know.
Because you can't remove the carpet from your home when you rent an apartment.
Very true. Unless, you don't want to break that contract. But, all right, I'm glad that you don't have a bunch of red spots all over you today.
Yeah.
You look wonderful.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
It's good.
My whole back is just one big rash.
She got the jacket on. We can't tell because she's been laying on the carpet.
I'm like, now it's an anxiety rash. It's not like a...
anxiety rash.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's all going well. Anything else that we want to cover, that you'd want to cover, that you want to shout out, mention before we call today? Or do you think that we kind of covered it all?
Stream, specifically Pink Whitney.
Pink Whitney, fuck with me. If you're broke, don't hit me. Pink Whitney, come get me. Bad bitch, shit, you bullshit, you miss me.
Pink Barbie Band-Aid.
I drop my V8 in your lobby, put some power on this pussy. Have the cops hit my agent. Tell them come and book me.
Pink Cocaine and...
Pink Cocaine, that one's a bit different.
Hyperpop, yeah.
Sonically.
I wanted to break up the album a little bit, and I wrote that song actually. So I thought I was writing a full length initially when I wrote Bimbocore Volume 1. I thought I was writing a full length, ended up only writing 6 songs. So I wrote that to break up a full length, and then I liked the song so much that I was like, why don't I just break up 6 songs with a hyperpop song?
Oh, that's good.
So stream the songs that are not the singles, because I love those songs just as much as the singles. Specifically, my favorite song, though, on the second EP is, like, right now, Pink Whitney, because I just...
Which is the title, or the first track.
The first track,
right?
yeah.
It's because of the Vic Fuentes line. Come on.
No, the guitar riff is just so heavy.
Oh, it is. Oh, I love it. Like I said, anybody, too, when you're listening to it, put headphones on for it.
And just the bang, bang, to bang, bang, to bang, bang. It's going to be so fun to play that song live.
Okay.
Like...
want to come up really quick, Frankie, and say goodbye? Frankie, come here. Frankie.
The one time Frankie's not like rambunctious.
Come on, up. There we go. I think we covered plenty.
She was unsure if she had permission.
Congrats with it all. Happy you're working with Hopeless. They're one of the first labels I ever worked with when I first got in the music world, just like with their artists. And I'm happy to see that you're a part of it because they're a great team. Frankie, sit. Fist bump. Come on, fist bump. Come on. There we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye. I think we nailed it.
I think we all.
I think we got it. Frankie, what did you think?